about some, deep depression things. So if that's something that you can't listen to, please feel free to skip this episode. What is up, Barbell Therapy fans? Welcome back to another episode of Barbell Therapy. I'm your host. I'm Kate. I am so excited that you're here. We're going through another solo episode today, and I'm going to take you on a little journey and something that I've always known. It's not like this memory was suppressed or anything like that, but I definitely kind of forgot a little bit, or not even forgot, but it never dawned on me that this moment in my life kind of was pivotal and foreshadowing to pretty much everything I was going to do with the rest of my life, or at least to where I am today and what I'm doing now. And I'm actually so excited to share this story because I don't talk about it ever. So I was doing a little bit of just thinking one night, and by one night I literally mean 2 nights ago. I was just thinking basically about the things that have happened to me in my life that brought me to this train of thought that I was going on. And I don't really want to talk about that here because anyway, I was going on this random train of thought, and I was I feel like normal people wouldn't think about things like this. They wouldn't, this just wouldn't come to mind. And if I were to say this out loud, I feel like people would look at me like I was crazy. And so I was thinking about it, and then it just had me just thinking about all the things that have happened in my life that would have brought me to that type of a thought process. And I was in no way, shape, or form feeling bad for myself because, I've talked a lot about some struggles that I've had on here. I truly am grateful for everything that I've ever gone through because it's made me the person that I am today. I am really, really proud of that person. I am happy with who I am today. So I say all that to say that I was thinking about it, and one story that I have not shared on this with a lot of people, just because again, I just kind of just don't think about it, is when I was a sophomore in high school. That's kind of when a lot of the depression stuff or symptoms, I guess, were really hitting. I was on medication and things, and I was just really struggling mentally. There was just a lot going on. So I remember I was supposed to be flying out to Portugal. I don't know if it was the next day or the day after or whatever. And my high school boyfriend at the time was over my house. And I have no idea what we were fighting about, but I remember us fighting or him being mad or something. And, the only thing I can assume is that I was looking back on it, thinking about how I was going away to a foreign country and wasn't going to be able to contact him. And I know that I probably was super insecure about whether, and this is not just him, this was me as a person being so insecure with myself that I was insecure with the relationship. And I was probably, and I don't know for sure, but I was probably convinced that going away was going to mean that he was going to gallivant with other women or whatever I thought at the time. And, whatever. So I remember just having this overwhelming, just, I can't do this anymore. And, unfortunately, there have been moments in my life where unfortunately had some self-harm behaviors, things like that. And, whatever, I was just going through a lot. And so remember being I just can't do this. And so I just started taking Advil and Motrin and Tylenol and whatever I could find. And I was just taking a bunch of pills. And I don't think that there's anything that could come from that. I'm, now what I know, but I don't know what I was doing. I just happened. And, I told my mom, and obviously I was not going to be flying to Portugal in a day. I'm going through that, but turns out, that I ended up getting, I didn't think this was going to be this hard. I'm not even sad. It doesn't bring me to tears or anything. Cause again, so much good came of this, but I don't know if I feel ashamed or nervous. But anyway, I ended up being admitted to an inpatient hospital. Again, I was pretty young. And so, I was in the psychiatric unit for adolescents, I guess. And yeah, so I was admitted, and I remember it vividly. I remember arts and crafts room slash cafeteria, whatever. Like I remember the living room, all of our living quarters, they were basically like dorms. Like I was shuffled around, and I think I moved from one bed to the other for some reason. I remember the family visiting room. Like I remember it vividly. And when I tell you I don't remember a lot of like sophomore year, because my brain did hide a lot of things from me, but there's a lot that I don't remember. But this I remember vividly. Anyway, there was a lot of kids struggling with multiple different things in there. I remember this one kid came in and was just so angry. Like he was so angry, and like took those like old TVs, and he like tried to throw it at the window to try and break out of the window. And then there was this other kid who seemed so sweet, and I couldn't understand why he was there. And he just seemed so sweet. But he wouldn't speak to anyone. He wouldn't talk. Like he wouldn't tell us what was wrong. He shut himself in his room pretty often. And then, there were some kids that were struggling with drugs, some kids that were struggling like me with mental health issues and things like that. And, there was a lot of downtime. There wasn't a lot of like, I feel like, TV shows don't really really show you what that downtime is like. Like, yeah, we had breakfast and lunch and dinner. I'm sure we had some snacks. We had some art therapy. We had group therapy. We had personal therapy. But those like a couple hours a day, like, and you're in there for 24/7, right? We had lights out or whatever. I probably like 10, something reasonable. But what about the rest of the day? You wake up at whatever, 8 or 9. You got like however long in the day, right? Like, and there's only a couple hours that are being taken up to do things. So you're just like sitting there. And, you could draw. I had a lot of notepads, and I drew a lot in them. And then, some people had other things, whatever. And then there was the living room with the TV. Like we could watch TV, but like I can't watch TV for that long. Or I can now, but I couldn't then. And so I remember I decided that exercise, I don't even, again, like sophomore year, I was like, exercise is like good for you, right? It's supposed to make you happy. And so I started leading group exercise classes in the living room or like the common area of this like inpatient psychiatric facility. Like, and I did not know what I was doing. Like, I did not work out. Like, I was just like, pulling things from the brain, and I was just like leading everybody, just giving them something to do and some outlet that wasn't like yelling at each other or something. And I remember being the social butterfly. Like all of the nurses were like, "Oh, you're so the social butterfly," which wasn't how I was like outside of this situation. And I was surprised by that. I was like, "Oh, I don't know, like I'm just being me." Like, but a lot of people were like, "Oh, I've never had somebody be this nice to me before," which ends up being a common theme in my life. But just like, and I was just like, I'm just being a person. Like, I'm literally just being normal. I'm just making conversation with you as if you have nothing wrong with you, even though like in this setting, I know there's something wrong with you because you're here with me. I guess I don't know. I don't mean to say that there's something wrong with people with mental health or drug issues, obviously, like in such a negative way, because I dealt with it. But like you're going through something, like you unfortunately aren't having positive experience in life right now. So yeah, you're angry or you're whatever. And like, I would just interact with people as if that wasn't happening, as if we were just normal kids, normal, whatever you want to call that, in high school interacting. Right. And like, I was having interactions that I wish I had on a daily basis in high school, knowing that I was unpopular and disliked by a lot of people, and I could not figure out why, by the way. I know I made mistakes, everyone does, but I was like most of my life like very disliked, and I still to this day like could not tell you why people dislike me. And the only like conclusion that I have is seems like a very I don't know what the word is, conceited thought. And I don't want to be that person, but like that's the only thing I can think of, because I don't know what I did wrong most of the time. And a lot of the time when they would tell me, it was just like, are you're really mad at me for that? Like, I don't know, it just seemed all ridiculous regardless. And so I would talk to these people like they were normal. And the kid who never came out of his room, he actually started coming out of his room and doing the exercise sessions, classes, whatever, with us. And the nurses were like shocked. And then he decided that we were friends, and he would sit there and he would talk to me about his life. And unfortunately, I don't really remember much now, but the doctors were like, what do you say to him to get him to talk to you? And I was like, I've never said anything. I've just said hi. I've just walked by every day and said hi. And like, I've made sure if we were doing something as a group, I always walked around to each individual and gave them their own personal invitation. Again, I think that that's like what I always wanted was I always wanted to feel included, and I didn't want to have to like force myself into a situation. And so I like walk around and give everybody their own personal invitation to come and join whatever group activity we were doing. Like, and it would be like, I mean, I went far in this. If we were watching a TV show or something and we were group talking about it, like I would make sure that everyone knows we're watching this fun TV show, or like, I don't know, just something silly. I was thinking about this experience that I had, and I basically was like, now that I think about it, I feel like that very much so plays a huge factor in so many things, right? Like I did not know what exercising was. Like I did not work out. And yet I thought that the way to get out of this unhappy situation was to lead this group exercise classes and help people through exercise. And that went nowhere, by the way. Like I didn't leave this situation, after the week was over that before I was discharged, like I didn't leave going being like, I need to exercise more. I was in sports. So I was like, that's my exercise. But like, just like, I don't know, very interesting. And then, yeah, I just thought about it and was like, wow, like literally in this situation where my mental health was at such a low point, I utilized exercise to bring people together and to get me to be happy. And I used it as like a therapy mechanism. And I feel like I wish I could sit here and tell you like barbell therapy was born because of this, and it wasn't. And I think that's kind of cool that like my subconscious has always felt this way, and that my whole life has revolved around helping people and really being rooted into exercise and how what that can truly do for your life. And I say that to say that like a lot of the times, especially on social media, we talk about the vanity of it, right? Like the way that we market it as coaches, the way that we talk about it. Hey, Barbell Therapy fam, I am interrupting this podcast because I want to make sure I let you know that I have roster spots open for my one-on-one coaching. This program is 110% customized specifically to you. I make a brand new workout. I do not copy and paste from any of my other clients. I work with you individually on your individual nutrition needs from where you started to where we want to go. And I make sure that you have a plan in place that will actually get you results and be easy and sustainable for you to achieve. We're going to look at your individual body and how your body responds to things. Honestly, the amount of support that you're going to get inside of this program is going to be the game changer. From not feeling like yourself and needing personal journal prompts, routine audits, making sure that your day is structured in a way that you don't feel like you're flailing and you just have all these tasks you need to complete and you don't know when and why to complete them. I will go through every single step of the way with you to make sure that you not only have a plan that you can actually complete, but you know when and where to complete that plan so you don't feel like you're just adrift in the day trying to meet these metrics. We are going to be best friends throughout this, and I'm telling you, it is worth it. Hop on a call with me and let's do a personalized fat loss evaluation for you, where I will give you the starting guide that we would be using inside of my program: calories, training days, cardio days, etc. I will give you that guide to get started, and we can see if you're a fit for the program. And if you're not, at least you have a basic plan that you can implement to actually hit your results. So let's get started by setting up that call, and I can't wait to meet you. Is we talk about the vanity of losing weight and looking more muscular, or looking like a smaller version of yourself, or losing body fat, things like that. But truly what I wanted this podcast to show is it's so much more than that. Exercise and becoming the healthiest version of yourself is so transformative outside that vanity, like surface level stuff, right? It's talking about what it will do to your mind, what it'll do to your physical attachment to your body, and like how you feel every single day. And little things that just kind of dawn on you. I have a client who we've only been working together for a few months. And while her weight loss hasn't been, extravagant by any means, she went to a water park with her kids and has had the ability, it's a drastic change from where she was last year to this year, where like it's a water park obstacle course. And last year, she was really struggling to get over the slides and, was feeling, just not confident. And then this year, she was pushing herself over the slides. She needed a little bit of help, but like was getting herself over and was keeping up with her kids. And was noticing that there were a lot of parents that weren't able to do that. And so, that's an incredibly transformative experience where as you're getting older, you are becoming more physically able to be around your kids, right? And doing what they're doing. And what an amazing experience to go from feeling not confident hanging out with your children doing something to feeling like you can do those things, right? Again, as we age, when traditionally as we age, we truly feel like we're becoming the lesser versions of ourselves and we're not able to do those things and keep up. But through exercise and transforming your nutrition, things like that, you truly unlock that potential of being able to move forward and not let age be such a defining factor in what you're capable of. I feel like social media and these norms have made it so easy for us to take an easy way out and say things like, well, I'm a mom and I have a job, so I can't do that. Or like, of course I drink wine. I'm a mom. Like just like little sayings like that, where you can take the easy way out because these norms of being this age or, being a mom or, having this job or whatever it is, you can say, oh, I fall into this category and therefore am this way. And you just feel like you have to be that way. And I just truly don't. I think that that's also one of the reasons that maybe I don't connect with certain types of people or people don't like me, is I've never felt that way. I've never felt that just because I am a certain type of person or I do a certain type of thing, I have to fall into like these specific categories. Some of me and some of my powerlifting friends and I will laugh because, there's a lot of these sayings that powerlifters, don't do cardio, which like I don't. So I fall into that, but I fell into that before I became a powerlifter, just saying. But outside of that, where it's like, they take 3 hours in the gym and they sit down like for 5 minutes between sets. And like, maybe this is what has made me a non-successful powerlifter, but I just don't like that. Like I truly want to be in the gym for like an hour and get what I need to get done. And I don't want to sit there and do nothing for X amount of time. Like I want to be super effective and just get in and get out and do what I need to do and be done and like be okay with that. But I've never told myself I can't be a powerlifter because I don't want to do that. And I've never told myself I had to do that because I'm a powerlifter. Like I'm just like, okay, well, it's okay that you guys do that and it's okay that you feel that way, but I don't. So I just won't. And I feel like I've met a lot of resistance in my life by just being like that, like by being, I don't know, a social media person, right? I'm a social media person, but that does not mean that, first of all, I have no pop socket on the back of my phone. For some reason, I refuse the pop socket thing, like just not my thing. I don't hate on anyone who has it, but for some reason, because it's popular, I refuse to do it. That's the same thing with like those Lululemon belt bags. There is something in me that says, if that is a common trend, I'm not going to do it. Anyway, like I very infrequently, just because I have a social media presence of some sort, I do not go out in public and like put my phone somewhere and do things. I don't hate on anyone who does. I honestly wish I had more of that ability to do that. But like, first of all, it doesn't really come to my head. Second of all, like, there's just something in me that's like, I'm here for this reason, or I'm doing this for this reason. I don't need to like, also do social media or whatever it is. And just because I own a business around fitness and nutrition does not mean that I need all of my friends and family to be the fittest, people out there, right? Like it's totally fine. I feel like a lot of the times people are like scared to tell me something. And I'm like, I don't care. You do you. Like, don't worry about it. But yeah, just because I have this job or I do this thing doesn't mean that I fit this specific bucket that I like have to be this way or whatever. And that's how I feel about fitness and nutrition and how it truly plays into somebody's lifestyle. Like, just because you fit in this bucket doesn't mean that you can't be the healthier version of yourself. Just because you don't enjoy working out doesn't mean you can't or you shouldn't. Just because you love pizza doesn't mean that, you refuse, and you love pizza and wine doesn't mean that you can't become a healthier version of yourself, whatever it is. I feel like that's just all random. But I guess my big takeaway on this podcast is, first of all, kind of just sharing this like root story with you. And then second of all, it's just understanding that, like, yeah, you can be whoever you want to be, and you can do whatever you want to do. And just because you feel that because you're in some sort of a bucket, that means that restricts you from doing something. You don't have to feel that way. I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. That's all I have for you. And I am excited to chat. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, review, whatever you want to do on here so we can get these stories out to more people and help the masses. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.